We need to learn how to avoid certain pitfalls and even disasters in life. I spent over 25 years driving semi, and it was always at night. The semi I had pulled two trailers, and as you can imagine, during bad weather, it wasn't the easiest of the jobs. While I lived in Wisconsin, I kept a small calendar journal. All right. When I lived in Wisconsin, I kept a small calendar journal. And each day, I would write down the weather and what kind of driving conditions I was up against. Blizzards, whiteouts, fog so thick you couldn't see past the nose of the truck. I remember one particular night, the freezing rain with ice on the road, and at the time I was getting off the highway, the clover leaf. It's a little bank on it. You look in your rearview mirror and your back trailer is 90 degrees compared to the rest of the truck. You look like a giant L going down the road. If I would have stopped, I would have slid right down into the ditch. And I do believe my fingerprints are still on those wheels of those semis. Most nights were not that hair-raising, and no one ever remembers the easy days. But I always thanked Father Yahweh for getting me home, safe but shaken, during those bad days and even those easy ones. Even those nights where I was having trouble staying awake. I would hear my name being called out. Wake up. I was the only one in the truck. Yahweh has looked after me all those years, and I thank him. Was it Yahweh who saved me, or was it me who saved me? I would like to give myself some credit, but really think about it. It was Yahweh who saved me. I think he suddenly woke me up, or kept my truck on the road, or maybe it was that angel who didn't like riding with me. And I think it was Yahweh who gave me the quick thought to drive in times of very bad weather. And it was Yahweh who kept me from falling asleep all those nights as well. Don't you think it's better that I give Yahweh the credit for saving me rather than taking credit for myself? In 1 Corinthians 10:31, whether therefore you eat or drink or whatsoever you do all to the glory of Yahweh. So if you are saved from an accident, you should glorify Yahweh by giving him the credit and praise. In 1 Thessalonians 5:18, and everything give thanks, for this is the will of Yahweh in Messiah Yeshua concerning you. Give thanks and praise in all circumstances, and good days, including the bad and scary circumstances. Life is full of difficult and or dangerous situations that could be disastrous. And it's not just car accidents or mishaps. It's people relationships and many other things like health. Some people relationships fall apart and become a big disaster, and thus Yahweh somehow intervenes. We need to look at Yahweh always. We need his wisdom and counsel always. We need his protection and security in life always. He's bigger than life itself and bigger than us. He's the only one who can save us, protect us, and make us secure in life and in eternity. Matthew 11:28. Come unto me, all you that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you, and learn of me, for I am meek and lowly in heart, and you shall find rest unto your souls. And he will give us even more than rest. He will give us wisdom, discernment, strength, and grace. In Hebrew 4, verse 15 and 16, for we have not a high priest which cannot be touched with the feelings of our infirmities, but was in all points tempted, like as we are, yet without sin. Let us therefore come boldly unto the throne of grace, that we may obtain mercy and find grace and to help in time of need. Paul advised Titus on how to avoid certain troubles in life by looking to Yahweh and listening to his word. Avoiding religious arguments, Titus 3:9. But avoid foolish questions and genealogies and contentions and strivings about the law, for they are unprofitable and vain. A man that is a heretic after the first and second admonition reject, knowing that he that is such is subverted and sins, being condemned of himself. Religion and politics. Which do you think causes the most arguments? Considering our present political situation, is probably politics right now. I think the humorist Will Rogers would have had a heyday today if he was alive. He would have had more political jokes than he could shake a stick at. He was in some ways a prophet before his time. And while he would be making jokes, he might be crying on the inside because of the sad shape of our country. Now, religious arguments, have you ever had any? I have, and none of them that I'm proud of. After it was over, I felt I hadn't done a very good job. Most religious arguments are unprofitable and useless. They are a waste of time and energy, and often people are put off from the truth of the gospel. Or they just refuse to listen because it's of their lifestyle, conflicting with Yahweh's way. In James 1, verse 19, wherefore, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath. For the wrath of man works not the righteousness of Yahweh. Wherefore, lay apart all filthiness and superfluity and of naughtiness, and receive with meekness the engrafted word, which is able to save your souls. Getting angry, even religiously angry, generally does no good in this world. Anger often seems to open up the door to Satan. In Ephesians 4:26, be you angry and sin not. Let not the sun go down upon your wrath, neither give place to the devil. Philippians 1:27. Only let your conversations be as it becometh the gospel of Messiah, that whether I come and see you or else be absent, I may hear of your affairs, that you stand fast in one spirit, with one mind, striving together for the faith of the gospel. We are to contend for the faith of the gospel. To contend is to fight for the faith of the gospel, but it doesn't mean that we should literally fight with people. In 1 Peter 3:15, but sanctify Yahweh Elohim in your hearts, and be ready always to give an answer to every man that asks you a reason of the hope that is in you, with meekness and fear. In our witnessing and contending for the faith, we must be gentle with people and respectful towards them. If we don't show courtesy, if we don't show kindness and love, how can we expect to do any good? Maxwell Perkins, the famous book editor, once wrote, one of my deepest convictions is that the terrible harms that are done in the world are not done by deliberately evil people, who are not numerous, and they are soon found out. They are done by the good, by those who are sure that God is with them. Nothing can stop them, for they are certain that they are right. Titus 3, verse 10 and 11. A man that is a heretic after the first and second admonition reject, knowing that he that is such is subverted and sins, being condemned of himself. Warn a heretic. It sounds to me like that someone is causing trouble in the church to the point where they could be a division. Then that person should be warned. Once, twice, third time you're out. That is, we leave them alone with the hope that they will return and wake up. No one enjoys warning people, but there are times when it must be done. Generally, I would think the job would be left to the elders or the leaders of the congregation. In Hebrews 13:7, obey them that have the rule over you. Submit yourselves, for they watch for your souls, they that must give account, that they may do it with joy and not with grief, for that is unprofitable for you. Now avoid selfishness. Titus 3:13. Bring Zenas, the lawyer, and Apollos on their journey diligently, that nothing be wanting unto them. And let ours also be learn to maintain good works for necessary uses, that they be not unfruitful. All that are within me salute thee. Greet them that love us in the faith. Grace be with you all. Amen. It was written that Titus ordained the first bishop of the church in the Cretans from Nicopolis to Macedonia. Preacher John Wesley of the 1700s is quoted as saying, "Do all the good you can, by all the means you can, in all the ways you can, in all the places you can, at all the times you can, to all the people you can, as long as ever you can." That covers a lot of territory. I would say that's a pretty good code to live by. I would say it sounds like Yeshua. In Acts 10:38, how Yahweh anointed Yeshua of Nazareth with the Holy Spirit and with power, who went about doing good and healing all that were oppressed of the devil, for Yahweh was with him. Yeshua ran about doing good, all kinds of good, providing food, teaching Yahweh's word, healing them from diseases, casting out demons. We need to do the same, although we are somewhat limited in comparison to what Yeshua did. I don't know of anyone who has healed those who were under the power of the devil. Even there are those who claim to have cast out demons. The only way any of us could do that is to be by leading people to faith in Messiah. And when they surrender their lives to Messiah, then they will indeed be healed from the power of the devil. 2 Corinthians, therefore, if any man be, 2 Corinthians 5:17, therefore, if any man be in Messiah, he is a new creature. Old things are passed away. Behold, all things are become new. Beyond casting out demons or healing people who are under the power of the devil, what can we do? What must we do? Anything we can. Teach, preach, give, share, listen, love. We must not be selfish with our lives and with what Yahweh has given us. We are to avoid selfishness by being quick to see needs and respond to those needs. Like I just read, bring in Titus 3:13, bring Zenas, the lawyer, and Apollos on their journey diligently, that nothing be wanting unto them. And let ours also learn to maintain good works for necessary uses, that they be not unfruitful. We avoid selflessness by doing good towards others in any form. When a distinguished foreigner paid his only visit to America in 1950, a committee of prominent Chicagoans lined up at the railroad station to offer official greetings. But the committee noticed that his eyes were not wholly fixed on them. Those penetrating eyes were wandering beyond the circling committee. Something on the station platform caught his eye amid the crowd of travelers. With politeness but firmness, the great man said to the committee, "Excuse me, moi," and literally dashed past a receptionist. Diving into the crowd, he stopped beside an elderly woman who was staggering under her load of heavy suitcases and extra bundles. With his big, sensitive hands, he grabbed the old woman's suitcase and bundles and beckoned her to follow him. He threaded a way through the throngs. He led the woman to the coach she wanted to take, lifted up her suitcases into the overhead rack, and bowing in a courtly manner, wished her bon voyage. Then he rushed back to the astounded committee with apologies for keeping him waiting. This is the way of Dr. Albert Schweitzer arrived in America. Did Albert Schweitzer know something that we don't? Did he have a heart within him that is different than ours, or most of our generation? He is quoted as saying, "Life becomes harder for us when we live for others, but it also becomes richer and happier." Philippians 2, verse 3, "Let nothing be done through strife or vainglory, but in lowliness of mind, let each esteem others better than themselves. Look not every man on his own things, but every man also on the things of others." We must avoid selfishness at all cost. In humility, we must serve one another best we can, and in any form. A man who was known to like liquor explained that he drank only to drown his troubles. "After you drown their troubles, why do you continue to drink?" he was asked. "You don't know my troubles," he sighed. "My troubles are excellent swimmers. I try to drown them, but they swim right up again." Those troubles are just like the sins that we have to deal with in our lifetime. 1 Corinthians 10:13. "There has no temptation taken you but such as common to man, but Yahweh is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that you are able, but will with the temptation also make a way to escape, that you may be able to bear it." Temptation to sin in various ways will always come our way. Temptations to do evil, or to fight, or to argue, to be selfish. And there is only one escape. The Lord himself is our escape from sin and self. In order to avoid the evil pitfalls of this life, we must always look to Yahweh and his Son Yeshua, and to his word. Psalms 119, verse 9. "Wherewithal shall a young man cleanse his way? By taking heed thereto according to thy word." How can a young man keep his way pure? By living according to your word. This holds true for people of all ages, both male and female. Yeah, we bless.